Hello guys, thanks for watching. Welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to talk about how to adjust your reel to bed knife on a Cox Cylinder Mower. And actually in this video, I'm going to go over things and maintenance with your cylinder mower and things that you should be doing because cylinder mowing isn't one of those things that you can just buy a mower and for the next 10 years just mow with it. There is a lot of maintenance that goes behind it. So come with me today. Let's have a look specifically at the Cox Cylinder Mower and let's see how to adjust and how to maintain your machine. Okay, so here we have it here. This is a Cox 25-inch cylinder mower. As you can see, it's quite a big boy. She's nice and fat. And look, this thing's been really good for me in the backyard. I've got quite a big flat area at the back and it's been pretty good with cutting out there. But one thing I did notice lately is the cut quality has dropped away. And that is due to the blades not being correctly set to the bed knife. So I'll explain now what that means. Okay, so for those playing at home, this isn't out of a Cox, sorry. This is actually out of a Scott Bonner Model 45. Now, what this is here, this is your sole plate here, this chunky piece here, and on the bottom right here is your bed knife. So that's a flat piece of steel, as you can see there, and it's actually been ground nice and flat, and it's got a really sharp edge on it, okay? So that's the bottom piece. That gets bolted into your mower on the side in there, and it stays completely still, okay? That's the whole idea of this. And then you've got your bottom blade there, which is one part of the scissor, if you like. The other part is this piece here, which is your reel. So this is again out of a Scott Bonner. And what happens is when that sits in your machine, that'll spin around like that. Now at the moment, if the contact between the blade, which is this part here, and the bed knife is too wide, you're actually not achieving any cut. And I'll show you that now with what I'm talking about here. Okay guys, so remember this is a fixed piece with your bed knife on there, the one solid piece, and this is your reel, okay? So as it spins around, this bottom edge of the reel here will contact the bottom edge of the top edge, sorry, of the bed knife and continue to roll around. And what that'll do is as your blade of grass comes up in between the two, it'll cut, okay? So the gap between there and there needs to be perfect. So as it rolls around, it's creating a cut. Now the easiest way to explain this is just probably like a pair of scissors. So if you've got a pair of scissors and you go to cut something like a piece of paper, if those two blades are too far apart, it'll just bend the piece of paper over and actually won't cut. So you need either that little bit of contact or your blades need to be so sharp that it actually cuts properly. So let's have a look at this Cox now and see what's going on with it. Yeah, so my piece of paper, put that in there. Like I said, we're going in between the two. Okay, not cutting. It's close, but it's not cutting. Okay, so what's happening there is we're just not getting the cut along the front of the bed knife there. So what I suspect is we need to close that gap ever so slightly. Now this is just off. There's not much gap there, but it'll need just a slight adjustment. And I'll walk you through how to adjust a Cox reel to bed knife now. First thing you want to do, loosen this bolt here. And this bolt here. All right, so we're about to loosen them. What we'll do is get the spanner in there, 13 mil in this case. Okay, you just loosen it slightly. You don't want to go overboard. You don't want to take them off completely. You're just taking pressure off the carrier there, allowing movement. Okay. Next step, we'll bring you nice and close so you can see exactly what's going on here. So bring you down. Now, this top nut here, which is a retaining nut, you need to crack that. And one on the other side as well. Okay. So in this case, my top bolt was moving and not the nut. So what I need to do is hold it in position. So I'm going to get this in there. Hold it in position. Okay. We're going to crack that nut. So we got that movement. So that one's being loosened off here on the other side. You've loosened the retaining nuts. Now we need to adjust the bolt clockwise to put more pressure on this carrier here, which in turn is going to lower the bed knife to, it's going to lower the reel to that bed knife. So let's have a look now. Right, cool. So we're underneath here. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing underneath because it probably makes more sense. So I'm getting a piece of paper. All right, I've got a test piece of paper here, and I'm just going to check the adjustment. Okay, still no good. So what I'm going to do is get my 13mm spanner, very, very slight adjustment at the top here. Okay, 1/8 of the turn. Now we're cutting. We're going to check the other side while we're here. And we're cutting. Okay. It's now cutting on that side, and it's now cutting on that side. So in theory, it should be cutting the whole way along. Now I don't want to muck up any of my settings just yet, because I'm pretty happy with where it is. So what I'm going to do is, now that I'm happy, first thing I do is lock off these bearing carriers on the side here to make sure that I've got no more movement and I'm not going to lose my adjustment. Now what I've found just then is I've gone and adjusted or tightened these up, and I've checked my adjustment and it's still slightly off. So what I want to do is still put a little bit of pressure by winding 1/4 of a turn, just to make sure I've got pressure held on the carriers again. Just a very, very slight dip. Okay, check that. Now let's have a check. All right, so the final check now. Okay, we've got the test strip of paper. Let's go and have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's cutting the whole way along there now. So quick recap, we want to loosen these 2 bolts, one there and one there. We want to ensure the bed knife to reel contact is correct, so we need to, in this case, we had to lower it and put more pressure on these bolts. So turning them clockwise, putting more pressure on the carrier to push that down to create a better contact. Once you did that, we locked these up to stop them from moving. Now in this case, we did lose a slight adjustment because they're standing back up, or the carriers are moving around slightly. So what we did, we just like 1/8 of a turn, just a quick little nip to put a little bit more pressure on these bolts to get the adjustment perfect. And now we've got that adjustment perfect. So I'm gonna go and test it out on the lawn and we'll see how we go.